Cunningham, and we're here in the Museum of Modern Art in Paris at this beautiful exhibition, which is a retrospective of paintings by Pierre Dunoyer. It's the first time in 30 years that we've brought all of these paintings together. His background is that he comes from Marseille. He was born in 1949 to a family of architects. He studied architecture initially, followed by psychiatry. A major event happened in 1973 when he went to a retrospective of At Reinhardt and Barnett Newman, which was a show at the Grand Palais, and he was completely overwhelmed by this show. He decided that perhaps he was going to paint, but he didn't know how. So he starts to think about his influences over the years, the museums he's been to, the philosophy he's read. He starts realizing that he wants to paint a tableau, but the tableau has to have presence. How is he going to create this presence? So these are some of the first works that he's painted. He was given a dusty old studio in Paris by a friend, some canvases, paint, but still he struggled to figure out how to do it. So he started by placing very simple colors, greens, blacks, blues, whites, yellows on monochromatic backgrounds. He mixed in glue with his paint in order to make it thick so that it could stick right on the canvas. He did little sketches. So he was following the formalist principles. He joined a group called Janapa in Paris in 1977 and did 3 exhibitions with them. They were an influential, short-lived group, but they were bound by philosophical debate. Very importantly, the Janapa thought about their painting as objects of knowledge, des objets de connaissance, whereas Pierre thought of his work as objet de pensée, which is an object of thought. In 1980, Pierre moves to New York, and he initially loved the fast-paced life in New York. He visited museums and exhibitions, and the abstract expressionists were very influential on him. But the galleries that he was working with wanted him to be a producer and produce and produce, and he needed time to create his tableaus, to create the presence that he was trying to find in all his paintings. But his style changed, and he was able to move away from his formalist background and starts using gestures instead of just the formalist paintings that he was working on before with Janapa. This painting is called Stark Naked. He has got rid of his formalism, and he's really just got these gesture marks, and I can see the vigor that he's painting here. But he's still using very much the paint thickened with glue to create these marks, these gestural marks. But I think he has actually created an amazing presence with this painting, but you can see he's looking and searching for something. So this painting, painted in 1985, is the beginning of when he discovered using modeling paste. Instead of thickening his paint, he's actually using a modeling paste and putting paint on top of that. So he lies the painting down and he applies the modeling paste, allows it to dry for 2 days, and then raises up the painting, which already has the monochromatic background, and he decides where to put the paint. But the paint itself is actually not very thick. It's the modeling paste underneath that's giving the texture and appearing to be impasto. After he left New York, he came back to Paris with a renewed energy and vigor. And he was asked by Alfred Pachmann to have a one-man show at the recently renovated Jeux de Paume galleries. And that's the first time it's ever happened, and there has never been one since. So it was a major show of 24 paintings, huge format, and there were 24 of them with 6 different colors, four ones of each different color, and they were hung 10 centimeters apart. And it showed him it was a great success. So one of the amazing things about Pierre is that he wants to turn seeing into thinking, which he really tries to do through his compositions. And he often imagines that his shapes are falling from above, and they come and they land on his monochromatic backgrounds. So Pierre's work is steeped in art history, in philosophy, in particular Martin Heidegger, and the humanities. And in order for him to create his tableau with presence, he has various ways of doing this. So one is through creating with his color and creating harmony in his colors. And the other is his compositions. His compositions have to be very controlled, otherwise the presence doesn't come in, as he says. But also the forms, and the forms have to be complementary, really rigorously placed on the canvas. And another way of creating this presence is through movement. All of his forms are moving in different directions in a harmonious way, however. And there are various plays on paradoxes, but the most important thing is he wants you to be able to turn seeing into thinking. This is one of my favorite paintings. They're arranged in such a beautiful way, and he's added something new into this. He's allowing us to see the modeling paste underneath, and he's actually accentuating it with different colors, or with a beige color to add another dimension onto this painting. So the colors in Pierre's work have no specific meaning whatsoever other than to be present and to differentiate themselves from the other colors. There is no message or symbol, even though people try to find messages and symbols. All he wants to do is create an artistic object. So Pierre's work is a paradox within a paradox. It's both minimalist and Baroque, conceptual and decorative, repetitive, but clearly evolving. It's abrasive, but also seductive. And these extremes are not only visible in his whole artistic journey, but they are also visible within each painting. And each painting becomes a world of its own. Over the years, his chromatic harmony gained serenity, even though his marks gained vigor. The overall composition became more balanced. Very few artists have created such a coherent artistic language with such simplicity. I hope you get a chance to see the exhibition. It's on until the 13th of March, 2023 in Paris at the Museum of Modern Art. Thank you.